In other countries, the triennial schedule is kind of akin to our quarterly schedule. It has quite a significance. Today would have been the 6 months after I had filed filings with, amongst others, the Supreme Court of the United States, the date of the filing, not the date it was denied, by the way, which means it would have been eligible for a specific kind of appeal. That appeal spoke specifically to the murder of Justice Antonin Scalia, but it also includes people that have been murdered as part of COVID 19. At least twice in the last 2 weeks have been very significant appealable moments. But I chose to do other things rather than go through the litigious process because I understood that part of what had happened is people had taken my legal filings and used them for other securities deals, including how the Supreme Court of Texas just had the entire catalog of the electronic filing system missing for several days. There were no electronic accounts connected to any cases in the state of Texas, going back for years, actually. I checked. I was like, okay, they're using this as pooled collateral on something, and I believe part of what it was today. It was supposed to vest today for gas and oil today, in connection perhaps with a virtual conference connected to the petrochem sector. And also in connection with the fact that in a very strategic time frame from now, there's planned to be a conference in the Permian Basin. And the way that this seems to have gone is that they used it as underwriting on whatever they expected to get for the bust of two oil and gas executives from Iraq. And part of what happened last night, that's part of what's reflected online, but also that isn't reflected online because I spent 3 hours processing vocally a transaction. That was incredibly amazing on one hand, but then at the end, I'm like, wait a second, what is this about? And I believe it actually came from Iraq, but not from Iraq. It came from Iraq via Saudi Arabia. See, there's this part of the old Baker report, Baker Hamilton report, not former Attorney General and Supreme Court Justice Hamilton from the state of Texas. Baker Hamilton report that discusses how Iraq owed Saudi Arabia. And I believe that Saudi Arabia has been a part of putting liens on Iraq. And the exacerbation of the situation with Iran is that somehow these people that thought they were entitled to have allowed for liens to be put on the Iraqi gas and oil sector specifically in connection with these compacts with international gas and oil interests that are using models that were developed as part of the Baker Ripley plan, and also in conjunction with interests that have come primarily from the Texas gas and oil sector in order to effectuate their own sort of social and political engineering paradigm. And so what they did is they used the people of Texas via our case law, which also includes all of the derivatives they set up on our cases, which is why they didn't actually address our cases. They're just electronic accounts connected to a bunch of derivatives all over the world. And they floated that for several days while they hooked up a bunch of deals. And it was supposed to, at least in part, vest today. But how does it vest? Because I know how they intended for me to get my vestiture. And apparently I'm supposed to believe I didn't vest. And because I didn't vest, I'm no longer a candidate. What they wanted me to do was to engage in a sex act to confirm it. And I have no contracts acknowledging that that kind of biometric account process is in any way legitimate. I have no one that has acknowledged that that actually happens. And I don't even have my name on anything of any property or any bank account that I could post it to. Who does? Who's pissed right now because I'm non-compliant or I'm the least performing instrument in their sector of instruments, and now their whole tranche is going to have to pay? You've been doing this for years. It's that literal. That's how literal the accounting is. There were diversions, there were other accounts that were part of this. I understand that. But that's exactly what I believe, and I'm accusing the Texas Supreme Court of doing in the last 3 weeks. Now, I am not going to actually formally file an appeal today in that particular regard because somebody else already took it upon themselves to engage in absolute acts of sabotage connected to my legal filings. And if I were to file today, it would be connected to their attempt to wield leverage off of a presidential announcement concerning education for children. And this is always the way they do it. They keep trying to say that they keep trying to get me to cooperate with them using ever increasing levels of infamy under the auspices that they need to take care of children. Other times, it's not that prescient. It's not that cogent. It's not that intensive. But right now, it's absolutely essential that they have this because that's how the leverage works. They literally do that, and they expect people to accept that that's acceptable. And that's how Aegis went from being a guidance counselor for children to being a database for adult entertainers in a state where there was a RICO case about trans healthcare that's now confidential.